Welcome to Spine Chillers and Serial Killers. Emma's got the haunting shadows in the night. Becky digs the crime scenes, tales of bloody fright. Tasha just sits there wide-eyed. Did that really occur? Laughing through the chaos of the creepy and absurd. Spine chillers and serial killers, where the ghosts meet the crime scene thrillers. Spooky, funny, strange, but true. They've got a nightmare just for you. Don't look behind you. Did you hear that?
Hello and welcome to this week's Spine Chillers and Serial Killers. I'm Emma.
I'm Tash.
And I'm Becky. Hello.
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 How is everybody?
Very well. How are you?
Absolutely amazing.
Oh, that's good to hear.
Yeah. Why not? Yeah, let's say that.
No, come on.
What?
One of my customers came in the other day and I was
Yeah.
like, oh, hi, how are you? Like normal thing. And then he's like, yeah, get in there. I went, absolutely not. I need better energy from you. Like really told him off. He was like, you're actually insane. I was like, none of that. Oh, get in there. What? Get in there from what? Come on, what's the matter?
Oh, you'd been so sad if he was like, oh, my dog's just died. You'd be like,
No,
oh.
he just always says that. I'm like, I need more motivation from you, babe. Come on.
Come on, Derek. Yeah. Okay.
Well, I'm wonderful. Becky?
I'm fine. No, wait a minute, hold on. I'm brilliant. Woohoo! Yay, fantastic.
Great.
Is that the odd type of energy we want?
Yeah, fine. I just
What's
want
the
high
type of energy we're getting tonight?
Okay, so we're late again. Just life. Oh, God, life. I sound like a pubescent boy. Just life kicking the shit out of us at the minute. So last week we did want to record and then it was bonfire night, wasn't it? So there were fireworks and the dogs were barking and
the fireworks were going. I live a stone's throw away from where the fireworks are in my village. So the night we were meant to record, it was popping off quite literally. And the dog was going a bit crazy, and obviously we would have heard it on the recording and that would have been quite annoying. And it's a proper big event, so they've got like a man on a microphone and music
loud.
and all sorts. So and you can hear it from my house, so it wouldn't have made for a great recording.
No, and to be fair, it wasn't Tash that cancelled, it was me, because I was like, fuck that, I'm not editing that. No, we'll do it another day.
Yeah.
So here we are, late and unreliable. Actually, we're not that unreliable, because we do always publish, just you never know when.
We're consistently unreliable, though, so that's consistency in itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Just keep you on your toes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there one? Is there not? Is there one? I mean, usually we are pretty consistent. It's we feel like we do it a lot, but it's actually very rare that we don't post on time. So, shall we just crack on and get to it?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Becky, you start.
Right.
Becky.
Becky, I'll just put a cup of tea down.
I like saying Becky, but like with a EH at the end. Becky.
Becky.
Well, isn't that
exactly how I read it when you spell it that way.
That's like northern, isn't it? Becky.
Yeah, it is northern.
Right.
Who's starting?
Becky.
It's
Is that why we were saying her name a lot?
Yeah, it was. That was.
I got lost.
Keep up.
Sorry.
Come on.
That's just why it said my name all the time. Right.
There are some names that you have to say with like a different accent, isn't there?
Yeah.
Just
I
like
can only think of Becky.
Yeah, but
at the
also
minute,
other
but-
sentences as well. Like whenever I say my back hurts, I always say me back hurts, me back hurts. I can't say it in a normal way.
What is that, Scouse?
Yeah, but then it kind of takes away from the fact that my back's actually hurting because it just sounds funny.
It just makes you laugh.
Me back
You're
hurts.
like, my back hurts. Mine's the same as Scarf, but do you like it? Do you like it? Do you like it? Like that. But I can't do accents as well as Tash. Anyway.
I just don't even think I'm that good.
You are. Well, you're better than
pretty
us.
good. Okay, well, organically funny.
I'm too tired. Organically funny. What does that mean?
Like, or like naturally, not on cue. Funny.
Oh, yes.
So
Yeah, because you can't do an accent when we put you on the spot.
that I panic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it has to be like, yeah, I get you. Anyway, go on. Tell us something bloody horrible.
Go on, Becky.
Yeah. Right. Are you ready?
Right. All right. Just so you all know, Becky's had to change rooms and she's laying very seductively on her bed.
I'm disappointed she's got a high neck t-shirt on because I bet her cleavage looks fantastic.
It does. I can feel them bunching up.
Hold on. Whilst Becky's faffing, I went on a horror tour.
What?
Ah.
Why didn't you open with that?
I didn't mention it because I was saving it for the podcast to tell you, and then I forgot because obviously we recorded later.
Yeah.
So it was in my hometown, and we just went around and had like an hour's walk to different parts in the town where like some really creepy things have happened in history, like some hauntings, murders. And it was thoroughly interesting. There's a potential of a serial killer having been in my town. But
I
it's
thought you just meant like there was a potential that a serial killer might show up, just like
just to kill us. But there's one confirmed death that he definitely caused. The other two are, timely, probably happened. Basically, all of his wives died.
What's
always
his name?
suspicious.
His name is... I wrote it down because I knew I wouldn't remember.
You're all right there, Bex. Those boobs look like you could just flop them out with a spatula.
They're getting in the way, I must admit.
Samuel Herbert Dougal.
Samuel Herbert Dougal.
Yeah,
He could be a BBC CBeebies presenter.
he could.
Isn't Dougal somebody off the Magic Roundabout? Dougal.
Maybe.
Definitely sounds like something like that.
Yeah.
Was it good? Were you scared?
I don't know, scared because it was like old stuff. So I just find the history of my town really interesting.
History rocks. I love history.
We're getting to that age as well.
But I didn't think I'd ever be that person. I always found history so fucking boring. And I didn't know that I'd ever be that person. But as I'm getting older, I find the history... It's like history you're connected to, isn't it? So obviously I lived there, so I find that really interesting. Do I want to know about some random town in, I don't know, Middlesex? No, I'm not really bothered about that. But where I live, I'm really interested in. Yeah, so it's really good. There's a few hauntings that have happened.
Nice.
Yep.
Love those.
There's some murders. There's tunnels underneath our
Not
town.
tunnels.
Yeah,
Murder tunnels.
tunnels.
Ghost tunnels.
Not well. I don't know if there's ghosts down there, but for people to escape. Oliver Cromwell had something to do with the town, and therefore, when he was there, he needed some escape routes.
He's got the locals
So, yeah.
digging tunnels.
Yeah, you can't access
That's
them anymore, but.
Good little history nugget.
There's a
Oh,
load. It's a
good.
really old town, so there is like loads of history in it. So hopefully,
Everything in England's really old,
yeah,
though,
that's
to be
true.
fair.
Yeah, she's So it was just meant to be a special over Halloween, and it's gone so well that she's going to be doing it every Sunday night. And I really hope that there's going to be like an extended version or some more deep diving into it. And she's like all in character when she does it. Like, it's so fun.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
I'd love
it was
to do
really
something
good fun.
like that. Nothing like that round here because it's so boring.
Well, it's so
boring.
vast, isn't it? Like, everything.
Yeah, but I mean, even round like the area where we are, which is in like the north of France. So France is renowned for its chateaus, right? You'd think, come on, get some hauntings, get some paranormal tours going on, you know, but no, there's
would
not
people
a lot, really.
I guess people would be interested. It's just knowing who.
Yeah.
I have been to a chateau where they turned into like a little haunted house, and then we watched a horror film outside. They like projected it onto the side of the castle wall.
All right. Well, yeah, you can't say where that was, but was that good?
Yeah, it was good. I'll tell you where it is afterwards, but it's still far away from where we are here.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it was still fun. And I really got into the haunted house. I mean, it wasn't, I suppose, in itself, it wasn't really that scary, but you know when you're like, you give yourself the willies.
You give yourself the willies. Did they have actors jumping out at you and stuff?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, so
fun.
it was fun. It was like, the theme was like an infection, like some sort of disease had it was, you know, Wreck, the film franchise Wreck, REC?
No, I don't.
Oh, well, it's about like an illness that turns people a bit zombified and kills people, and that
They generally do.
Yeah,
they generally do.
It does in the horror films. Anyway, so that's what it was, the theme. So they were like all these manky people that were all like bubbly and burnt.
Not bubbly.
They were like, yeah, like our lumps all over them. It was horrible.
Yes.
But it wasn't, you know, it was still okay. It wasn't like absolutely terrifying, but it was really, it was really funny. Yeah. So
Right.
that was fun. But
Cool.
right, everybody, I'm going to start my story now. Are we ready?
Yeah,
Right.
we're ready, dude. I've been ready for about 15 minutes.
I just want to make sure you're definitely ready.
I'm ready. I'm fully prepared for this horrible, horrible thing you're going to tell us.
My story about this week is about incels.
That sounds
Well,
nice.
that's just going to be fucking awful.
So, what an incel is, what it means, what it's short for, is an involuntary celibate. So, it refers to a collection of people who experienced unwanted celibacy. So, in other words, they want to be sexually active, but find themselves unable to connect in that way. So, the term dates back to 1997. A Canadian university student named Alana created a small website to share her own struggles with dating. She called it Alana's Involuntary Celibacy Project.
So it started with a girl.
It started with a girl. I was really surprised. I didn't know that that's how it started. So it started off really innocent, something innocent. So a place for lonely people to talk, to share stories, and kind of like find a community.
Boring stories.
Well, yeah, no sex in the stories as of yet. So would you just count every story with no sex as boring?
No, but I mean, I want
But
a little
kind
bit
of.
at some point.
Want a little bit of spice. So it was just mainly for them to find community. There was men, women, people of all orientations joined in. And for many, it was the first time that they realised that they weren't alone in feeling rejected or invisible.
Oh, that's sad.
I don't really understand what an incel is then. So
I'm
they
going to get
want-
into it.
Oh, okay, fine. Sorry.
It started off really innocent. What I've just told you is pretty innocent. It's just like a little forum of people trying, like connecting other only people.
Yeah.
So as time went on, Alana moved on with her life and she found a relationship and she left the website in charge of other people.
Because she started shagging.
Yeah. She was no longer an incel. She kind of, I think, possibly grew a personality and found someone that she liked. But I think a lot of people are very shy as well. A lot of it is shyness, but not always. So years later, she would discover that her once supportive forum had fractured into something else entirely. So that she also learned that most of the group had splintered into male-only spaces, communities where sexual frustration was often redirected towards the women who had supposedly shunned them. So it's basically turned into a big ball of hate for women.
So is it just men that can't get it up?
No, men that can't get laid.
They can't get a girlfriend.
They just can't get a girlfriend.
They can't.
No, it's often because, I'll get into it, but it's often because they have these horrible ideologies of how women are.
Right.
And how they're a man, so they deserve sex, yet the women only want to go for, like, the best men, so it's spoiling it for them.
Okay.
So how it works is a bit like a pyramid scheme. The core beliefs of their incel ideology is a society that operates on a looks-based, like, pyramid scheme. Mm. A kind of social caste system that they believe determines who gets attention, affection, and love. At the top of the pyramid are the most attractive men and women, known in incel slang as Chads and Stacys. Have you heard of that before?
Yeah, I have actually.
No.
Yeah. So they're the so-called alphas, the people who, in the incel's mind, get everything: sex, status, and success. So below them, step below, are the normies, the average people who make up most of society. Neither particularly privileged nor cursed, just living somewhere in the middle. And then at the bottom are the incels themselves. The men who see their lack of romantic or sexual success as a kind of social exile. They envy the Chads for hoarding all the women. They really wish that they were a Chad, but they're not. Meanwhile, the Stacys, which are the women that they desire, the most beautiful women, are dehumanized in incel forums, described as shallow, selfish, and manipulative. But what would I know about this? My name is Becky, and Becky, in incel language, that is not a compliment. A Becky to them is an undesirable woman, someone too outspoken, too average, maybe too smart for her own good. In other words, someone that just doesn't fit into their fantasy.
I wouldn't describe you as that, but fine.
Yeah, but to them, they just want a beautiful woman that's going to shut their mouth and just have sex with them all day.
Becky talks too much.
Becky's got too many brains.
So yeah, a Becky is someone that, I think to incels, and just calls them out on their shit a little bit.
Yeah.
Just like, no, I'm not going to get with you because you're a
prick
and a misogynistic twat. The misogyny in these forums is just off the scale. I tried to get into a few on Reddit. The most disgusting places I've ever been in my life.
Really?
Horrible.
Really?
Horrible. You don't even want to go. I mean, a lot of them are not open. You have to, in a way, pass a few tests to become part of it. But, ooh.
You actually, like, did research by going and, like, getting into the nitty-gritty.
I did have a look, so I've got Reddit, so I was like, well, I'll have a look at a few forums. A lot of them are full of people also doing the same thing, and, like, obviously asking questions and stuff. But it's like, a lot of it is just shite. Like, people like, oh, I saw a Stacey today, and it just all sounds like lies, like creative writing. It's like, so obviously didn't happen. Yeah, they're all like eating it up, like, oh yeah. I don't know. It's just very lonely people that live in the past by about 70 years. But, it turns into this big spiral of hate towards women. It's just awful. And I'm just like, maybe you're not having sex with women because you're a horrible fucking person.
Yeah, it sounds that way, doesn't it?
That's what it is.
100%. 100%. Your personality is awful.
I was like, just be funny. Have you heard of a comedian that doesn't have a wife? You know, like every single comedian, be funny. If you're a funny person, it doesn't really matter if you're that good looking or not. If you look up all the comedians, like if you look up random they always have good looking wives because making women laugh get you into their pants. See, come to Becky's little flirting class. But anyway, so yeah, back to Becky. So Becky is too outspoken, too average, and maybe too smart for their own good. So in other words, Becky's don't fit into their fantasy. And that's where this story will start to turn a bit darker, because for some incels, those fantasies and frustrations don't just stay online. Some bleed into like real life situations. Because, you know, if they're just bitching about people on the internet and it stays on the internet, it's not really hurting anyone directly. But
I fear that's not what's going to happen.
No, it never does. There's always going to be some psycho that is spending too much time on this forum and just absorbing all this hate and thinks, do you know what? I'm going to go out and do something.
And takes it one step too far.
Yeah.
Many steps too far,
Probably.
I would imagine.
Yeah, so most incels will never become violent. But for the few who do, they share one crucial trait. A belief that the world owes them something, or that the world has taken something away from them, so like sex, according to them. Incel ideology proves a simple explanation for their pain, and it tells them, you are not the problem, society is. Nothing wrong with you being a misogynistic prick. It's everyone else's fault that you're a prick, basically.
That old
but
chestnut.
This is dangerous because it gives shape to their anger, and most importantly, it gives them someone to blame. So often women. Like I said earlier, they do blame the Chads, but they want to become a Chad, so they can't hate Chads too much.
No, they've got Chad envy.
Yeah, deep Chad envy. So for Elliot Rodger, the blame became an obsession. Elliot Rodger is a really famous incel story. So in 2014, after years and years of feeling invisible and rejected, Rodger wrote out 141 pages of this big manifesto filled with bitterness towards women and envy towards the men that he called Chads. And he saw his own suffering as proof that the world was broken and that it deserved punishment. He saw himself as good looking, and he did not understand why women are not sleeping with him. I mean, I've had a look. He was like, he's a horrible person, so that makes them ugly to me. It almost changes the way that I see people, but he's not, he was just like an okay, normal looking guy. He was almost a little bit good looking. And I'm like, well, if you're kind of good looking and you're still not having sex with people, it's because you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
It's because you're a twat. And your attitude and the vibes that you put out, that's what's putting women off. We don't instantly crumble to our knees a minute a good looking man is in the room.
Speak for yourself.
Sometimes we're allowed to do that. But hey, it's our choice to do that. So on the evening of the 23rd of May 2014, 22-year-old Elliot Rodger carried out a meticulously planned attack in the quiet college town of, Isla Vista. I should have looked up how to pronounce that. Sorry. It's in California. And it was near the campus of UC Santa Barbara, so university. In his manifesto and a series of his YouTube videos, so he also put out a lot of YouTube videos. So the one that's famous is where he's sat in his car talking about how women won't sleep with him, and there's like the sun coming in on his face. It's quite a famous clip. So in these videos and in his manifesto, he spoke of his anger towards women who had rejected him and the men that he envied. He called his plan the Day of Retribution. At 9:27 p.m., the violence began. He first stabbed his roommates to death inside of his apartment. So,
Fuck! Shit!
yeah, he goes on a complete rampage. So this is Chen Wan-Hong, George Chen, and Wilhelm David Wang. Two of them are 20 and one was 19, so all roughly the same age as him. Poor dudes. And they're all students at UCSB.
So why did he stab them? Were they Chads?
I don't know if he saw them as Chads or whether he just didn't want his roommates or friends to say bad things about him afterwards, after his little rampage. It's not really clear why he kills them. But Rodger then drove through the town in his black BMW, armed with knives, handguns, and hundreds of rounds of ammunition. He stopped outside of a sorority house and shot 3 women that were crossing the road, killing 2 of them, Veronica Weiss, 19, and Catherine Cooper, 22.
Awful.
I know. Moments later, he entered a nearby deli and fatally shot Christopher Michael Martinez, 20 years old. And for the next 10 minutes, he continued his rampage through the streets.
These are just random people?
Yeah, right, well, they're in the, near the campus, so he knows that they're all, uni students.
Right.
So he just started to go on full Grand Theft Auto. You know, that game where you can just run around and run people over in your car? That's basically what he did. Shooting through his window and striking others with his car. And by the time it ended, 6 people were dead and 14 more were injured. Police exchanged gunfire with him twice before he crashed his car and then shot himself in the head. Because he's a coward. The attack shocked the world, not just for its brutality, but for what came after. And online, some hailed him as a martyr in the so-called incel movement. And for others, he was just a tragic symbol of untreated mental illness, misogyny, and the deadly power of hate. So this would make him famous, especially within the incel communities, and he would just be glorified there. They nicknamed him the Supreme Gentleman.
Oh, nice.
Jesus Christ.
And that's when everything kind of changed in the incel forum, because that hasn't happened before. They kept all the hate online, really. And after Rodger's rampage, a new narrative took hold online. That violence was not only understandable, it was justified to them. Incel forums began to idolize killers. They memorized Rodger's words. They posted memes celebrating other people that started doing sexual assaults and stuff like that. The men that were caught doing all these crimes, they weren't murderers, they weren't rapists, they were symbols, proof that society's rejection had consequences. So they're seeing it as haha, you reject us, now we're murdering you all, haha, your fault.
That's insane, isn't it?
It's terrifying, really.
It is very, 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 very scary. And so for some, it became a kind of dark fantasy, a way to imagine power where before there had been only weakness. Psychologists call this violent validation. It's where someone so powerless, so humiliated, begins to see destruction as the only way to feel important, even if it means dying in the process. Online, this fantasy is constantly reinforced. Other users praise these killers, glorifying their revenge. They say things like, he finally made them notice us. And for a lonely, angry young man spending hours scrolling through these forums, it can start to sound like a purpose. The incels that turn to actual real-life violence describe their attacks as reclaiming power over women and over society and over their own lives. They see violence as a way to rewrite their story. What's striking, according to research, is that many of these men don't see themselves as evil at all. They see themselves as that they're forced to do this by a system that has denied them sex.
Mm-hmm.
I just love how they're taking no responsibility of their sex life for themselves.
I was like, it's because you're a fucking creep.
Like, how is you having sex anyone's responsibility but your own?
We've all had people, like, a certain type of person, you talk to them and it's like, oh, you're giving me the creeps.
Yeah.
You get these vibes from certain people, and I reckon they just stink of these vibes. But the entitlement, the audacity, and the entitlement that they believe that they are owed intimacy is just one of the psychological cornerstones of the violent incel thinking. So, Elliot Rodger, his violence echoed across the internet and across borders. 4 years later, on the 23rd of April 2018, a white rental van sped down Yonge Street in Toronto, Canada, mounting sidewalks and ploughing through crowds of pedestrians. And when it finally stopped, 10 people were dead and 16 more lay wounded. The driver was Alek Minassian, a 25-year-old computer engineering student. And when police arrested him, he smiled, almost proud, and told them why he did it. He said, "The incel rebellion has already begun. All hail the supreme gentleman, Elliot Rodger."
Oh, God, get a fucking life, you loser.
It's like a god to them, isn't he?
Fucking weird. I mean, it's like very culty.
Oh,
So culty. And not the good kind, not one I'd want to be part of.
No.
And I do like a good cult.
These forums that they're in is full of so much horrible stuff that it becomes normal to them to talk like that.
Well, they become desensitised, don't they?
Yeah, desensitised, and I don't know. I feel like...
They believe their own bullshit, don't they?
Absolutely, because it's validated by other bullshit spewers.
Yeah.
I feel like someone, I don't know, that they could just start off as being a bit cute, you know, trying to find someone who thinks like them, that's a bit lonely, and then just getting sucked into this horrible world of just hate. As a woman reading the stuff that they put on there, it was so enraging. So, like Rodger, Minassian described himself as invisible to women, unwanted and undesired. He spent years on forums where Rodger was treated not as a killer, but as a prophet, a man who had struck back against a world that had rejected him. So yeah, proper culty.
Yeah.
Investigators later found that he had really taken a deep dive into Rodger's life. He'd been messaging other incels for support before he did the attack, talking to them about it. But unlike Rodger, Minassian wasn't fueled by personal jealousy alone. He wanted recognition. He wanted to ignite like a revolution for the incel community. And he just wanted to become known for something.
Get a hobby.
Yeah, he's such a loser. He's just such a
proper
fucking loser.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, oh, should I put him in this? Because it's kind of giving him a little bit of what he wants, but you're a twat. So I'm talking about you because you're a twat. Yeah. So the Toronto van attack became one of Canada's deadliest attacks of mass murder, and the first officially linked to incel ideology over there. And for the first time, authorities classified it as a form of terrorism as well, which I really think it is, because it's a proper hate crime.
Well, it is.
Not...
Yeah, 100%.
And once again, the online incel forums exploded with celebration. Memes and tributes, people calling for Minassian the Saint Alek. They called him the Saint Alek, because he was called Alek Minassian, and the successor to Elliot Rodger. Two men, 2 years apart, strangers to one another, but they had one ideology, which was born out of loneliness, rejection and rage. What began as a space for connection and for people that felt unseen has, in some corners of the internet, become something else entirely. A breeding ground for resentment. A place where anger festers and empathy fades. Most who call themselves incels will never harm anyone, but for a small few, their pain curdles into hate. And hate left unchecked, can be deadly.
Well, fuck
So,
me.
yeah, that leaves you with a bad taste in your mouth.
Awful. What horrible little weeds.
I know.
Absolute pond life.
Quite a lot of them, it's just talking about, like, rape and stuff like that. It's really bad.
Awful.
Like, to the point where I'm like, this shouldn't even be allowed on the internet. But yeah, if you want to have a little deep dive into incels, please don't get sucked in.
No, I don't want to have a deep dive into that.
Well,
We're all Chads and Stacys here.
everyone's a
Yeah.
Chad and a Stacey if you've got a nice fucking personality. Do you know what I mean? It's what you said earlier. Just be nice, be kind, be funny. Try and be a little bit
I
interesting.
think definitely a sense of humour is a massive part of connecting with people and getting the old golden sex as what they want. We heave ho.
Anyway,
I know that some people, unfortunately, are not the best looking people ever. But I really think that's when you just need to develop a personality.
It isn't.
No.
It isn't about looks.
because they're temporary, and B, beauty's in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah.
So
Well, take like my husband, for example, on his driving license, I was like, oh, I probably wouldn't have gone for you then. But, you know, I don't know. Like you say, that's what I mean. Looks change. I look completely different when I was, well, probably not that different, but, you know, quite different when I was younger. And then, I don't know, you just like...
The more you get to know somebody, the more you fancy them, and that's not because of their looks, is it? That's because of their personality.
absolutely, 100%.
I think that's exactly right.
And the connection. So obviously you're attracted, like we can all objectively look at somebody and think, yeah, they're attractive or they're not. But then the fact that you're so into somebody is because of their personality, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, people can be good looking and be in an absolute horror, you know, like an absolute twat. And you think, ugh, God. And then it kind of like erases their good looks. I don't know.
Yeah, of course it does.
Because they're just like, you just think, oh, what a dick.
I remember the exact moment that I knew that I was in love with my husband, and I don't know if I've told you this before, but
No.
we were at a zoo. We'd gone out for a date day, and we'd gone to an aquarium, and then we'd gone to a zoo.
Aww.
Yeah.
An aquarium
cute.
and a zoo.
Well, we were only going to the aquarium, but we had such a good time that on the way back we drove past the zoo, and he was like, "Oh, do you want to go to the zoo?" Because we didn't want the date to finish, so we both went to the zoo afterwards.
Stop it.
I know. And the exact moment I knew I was head over heels in love with him was we'd looked at...
You laughed at a panda pooing.
No, he imitated a monkey going round the zoo, making an absolute dick of himself, but doing the whole monkey walk with the long arms and go... And then a lemur jumped on his knee and peed on him, and we laughed about it. And that was like, yeah, you're amazing, and I love you.
If he's good enough for the lemur, he's good enough for me.
For me, I want to pee on him next.
No, but the lemur peed on him, and he didn't get pissed or anything. He was just like, "Oh, it peed on me," and I was like, "Oh, I just," and the fact that he was willing to make a twat out of himself to make me laugh.
Yeah.
It was just ridiculously attractive, and and yeah, that was me gone. And yes, he is gorgeous, but I wasn't in love with him because he was gorgeous. It was that day where you know, he was willing to just be silly and
be a silly Billy.
He was just silly and could laugh at himself and walking around this zoo with lemur pee on his jeans, and yeah. I knew he was the man for me.
That's very cute.
Yeah. So there, see? Nothing to do with looks.
Yeah. I think some of the incels in those forums, though, deserve to get pissed on by a lemur.
I don't think they deserve even that, because that's quite an honour if you've got a lemur on your knee.
Yeah. Well, it got Ben a wife, didn't it?
I wish good sex for everyone, but not for them.
No.
Yeah. It also, I reckon a lot of are a bit like, oh, I'm a nice guy, but then the nice guy isn't actually that nice. They're just trying to have sex with you. And then they get angry and they're like, oh, you never go for a nice guy. I was like, oh, you're not that nice.
You're not nice.
Just being horrible to me now.
No, but as you say, some people just give off the creepy vibe, and I imagine every single one of these people gives off the creepy vibe.
Absolutely.
And you can look like fucking Brad Pitt or Johnny Depp. If you're giving off that creepy vibe, you ain't getting any.
Yeah.
No, I mean, the creepy vibe, it almost like, when they go into the room, it almost like turns the room a different colour, if you know what I mean. It's like, ooh.
Yeah, sleazy.
I don't know, it's like a thick feeling. I don't know, I'm like, oh no, vibes are off.
Yeah, wrong.
Bye.
Yeah. Didn't pass the vibe check. Right.
Nope.
Should we get on with my Enfield Poltergeist?
Yes.
So, last week we left off with Guy Playfair, who had just seen his colleague Maurice Gross be absolutely exhausted by trying to solve this poltergeist case all by himself. So he thought, well, I'm going to have to go and help. That's where we left off. So, Guy Playfair arrived at the house and took an instant liking to Peggy, who is the mum, if we remember. Peggy is the mum.
Yes.
He found her to be a sensible sort, down to earth, and he trusted her straight away. She explained what had been going on over the past 12 days, so we're only 12 days in at this point. And as they were speaking, Guy noticed a kitchen...
Do you know what I like about that?
What?
They've taken action quickly.
They have, straight away.
They've not waited around for years.
No, but I think it was pretty...
They've said, no.
I mean,
this will not do.
It was pretty intense from the get-go, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, yeah. But they've taken action straight away, and I applaud that.
Yeah. So, as they were speaking, Guy noticed a kitchen cupboard was open. Everyone swore it had been shut, but as he didn't see it open by itself, he dismissed it. Not that he didn't believe them, he just had to see things for himself, which is fair enough. That night, he waited on the landing with Graham Morris, the photographer, from the Daily Mail, who was working the case alone now as the story was over for the paper. So he'd discovered the story with the Daily Mail, but they've covered it now and moved on. But he's like, actually, this is really interesting. So he was like just there by himself trying to catch evidence. He had enough equipment set up to make the house look like a photo studio. The pair heard a bounce, and sure enough, a little marble had fallen on the floor and stopped immediately. No roll or anything like that, just drop, pop, stop. Guy tried over and over to reproduce it, but every time he dropped the marble, it rolled. He began to realise that this was, indeed, a genuine case. The following night, Graham set up 3 Nikon cameras on tripods to cover the whole of Janet's bedroom. He'd wired them so they would all take a picture at the same time with a remote control. He went downstairs to do a check, and he took a photo, and none of the flashes went off. So for one to fail is fair enough, but all 3, after being thoroughly checked before being set up, was extremely odd.
Yeah.
He checked them and found that although they had been fully charged before he'd turned them on, they had each been completely drained of power, which is, again, another classic poltergeist thing. The next day, he tried again, and everything worked perfectly. As in most poltergeist cases, this would not be the only time electronics stopped working, and everyone had always got to check their equipment thoroughly. On September 19th, 1977, Guy Playfair arranged to spend the night at the Hodgson's house. He had witnessed all the odd goings-on for himself. The marbles, the chairs moving by themselves, the beds shaking. In fact, it was actually becoming quite boring, just like they were so used to it. They're like, oh, the bed's shaking again, oh, big whoop. That night, however, things were about to get a little bit more interesting. Guy heard that Peggy and Janet were awake. He poked his head round the door to see what the matter was. They said they could hear a shuffling noise. He tried to explain it away, saying it was probably him moving about in the other room. But as he said that, a chair fell over in the bedroom. He tied the chair to the bed so that it could no longer be knocked over. And so the big heavy armchair in the room fell over. And then the chair that was tied to the bed, snapping the wires. Then 4 books flew off the bookshelf and into the spare room.
This ghost is brazen.
Yes.
Yeah, obviously this one lifts as well, because throwing over a heavy chair.
Mm-hmm.
It's got some muscles going.
So then these 4 books flew off the bookshelf and into the spare room. Now, this wasn't a straight throw. The books had to actually turn in midair to be able to land in the other room. So that just defeats like any laws of physics. That's not how throwing things works usually. It was almost as if the poltergeist was showing off to Guy Playfair. And then, to their horror, they saw a small indentation appear in Peggy's bed. The pillow went down and had a little hollow, as if a little child was laying there.
Oh.
Peggy said she expected all this was a little girl, as a man she had known down the road had murdered his child by suffocating her and then had killed himself. And this wasn't far from the Hodgson's house. Now, Peggy had bought some of the furniture from that house when they'd had a clearance after the murder-suicide. But as soon as all the activity had started, she'd thrown it all out immediately because she'd thought, oh shit, obviously I shouldn't have done that kind of thing. I don't know if I'd be buying murder furniture.
No, I don't think I would.
I'd rather not bring anything into the house that could possibly be haunted.
So anyway, she's got rid of all of it. But Guy wasn't so sure about the idea.
Again, she's acting quickly. I enjoy Peggy.
Yeah, she knows what's up.
Yeah.
But Guy wasn't so sure about the idea of the little girl's ghost, but he thought it better for Peggy to think of whatever this was as a 4-year-old child than the frightening unknown poltergeist. So he remained quiet. Peggy and Guy reassured Janet, who said she wasn't actually afraid. She was kind of used to it, but she was just really exhausted from all the noise. She snuggled back down to go to sleep when screaming came from Margaret's room. She was shouting for Peggy. A huge chest of drawers had toppled over and was now resting at an angle against the wall, its drawers sliding out onto the floor one by one. Everyone was shocked by the strength the thing must have, worrying that it appeared to be getting stronger day by day. Things didn't get any better. After one particularly active day, where Janet had been thrown off the settee as it toppled over, chairs, marbles and Legos were bouncing all over the place, kitchen cabinets were opening and shutting by themselves, the Hodgsons were once more scared out of their own house. This time they took refuge at Peggy's brother's, who just lived a couple of doors down. But to their dismay, the poltergeist followed them.
Ugh.
Peggy's sister-in-law had been boiling the kettle when a toy from upstairs materialised in front of her eyes. It kind of just hung there mid-air before falling to the ground. As she screamed and stepped back a little, the toy followed her. Peggy's family had been dubious at first about the activity, but had since been convinced as they had witnessed multiple occurrences in the Hodgson's house. Peggy's brother said he had seen a light floating at the top of the stairs, and as he watched it, petrified, it just slowly vanished into nothing. On that same day, Vic, the next-door neighbour, had been walking up to his house and had glimpsed over to the Hodgson's house, only to be met with the apparition of a grey old lady in the window. He decided to keep this information to himself as to not scare anyone. Later that afternoon, he met Peggy on the street, who told him that she'd seen her again, and then described the old woman in the window perfectly. It was the same apparition he'd seen. This case now has a total of 15 eyewitnesses, not counting the Hodgsons.
That's fucking insane, isn't it?
It is. All totally convinced something paranormal was occurring in that house. So you've got the 2 paranormal investigators, the photographer, you've got 2 policemen, You've got the BBC reporter. You've got Peggy's family. You've got Vic and Peggy next door. So yeah, we're getting quite a list of people now that are just bewildered by what's going on.
I still think it's the coppers that surprised me the most. I don't know why.
And they never went back on it, even after they had the piss ripped out of them. No, they never changed their story that they saw that chair fly across the room. Guy Playfair had been helping Maurice Gross now for 13 days, and he still had a few doubts as to whether Janet was extremely good at playing tricks, or indeed this was a very intense poltergeist haunting. Every night he took himself off down to the local pub for dinner. This particular evening he sneakily left his tape recorder recording hidden on the top of a cupboard. Just after he left, he heard all hell break loose. The family were trying to watch television, but the loud bangs and settee flipping was scaring them to death. The tape recorder caught the shocked conversations, the cries and the whooshes from objects flying through the air. He was now a little more convinced that the family were not making any of this up. Any doubts, though, were about to be totally removed, as the day after he was in the kitchen looking at Janet sat in the big red armchair. She got up and started to walk towards him, and as she did, the chair toppled over and followed her, scrunching up the carpet as it went. Guy lifted the chair and sat on it, tried to see if he could topple it with his legs. He could not. It was a big, sturdy chair, plus Janet hadn't even been sat on it when it moved. Then, as he sat there, he had Janet in his view in the kitchen when an almighty clatter occurred. Both kitchen tables had been pushed over. Janet had not moved. And there is no possible way Peggy could have done it, as Guy and Maurice struggled to pick the tables back up again. Again, heavy and sturdy. And there wasn't really much room to tip it up in the kitchen, like it was a small kitchen. So, you need kind of a certain amount of space to kind of
to flip things.
Get a grip.
Move furniture, yeah.
So they actually really struggled to put them back because it was so small and they were heavy. Maurice, of course, had been a believer from pretty much the start, but this had really proved to Guy that the Enfield Poltergeist was not messing about. Guy and Maurice had decided it was time for Mr. Ghosty to go. Despite their better judgment, they asked for recommendations for psychic mediums from the SPR. So the SPR is where they both come from. It's a Society of Psychical Research. Just before their arrival, Janet had been crying in her sleep. The crying got louder and louder until she was in full-blown unconscious hysterics. No one could wake her up. The pair of paranormal investigators worried that this could be the beginning of a possession, as Guy had seen so many times before in cases he'd worked in Brazil. The memories still haunted him, and he prayed that this would not be the case for little Janet. Betty and George Shaw arrived at the house late that afternoon and got to work immediately, so these are the mediums. George explained that his wife Betty might go into a trance and speak in another voice, and that it was okay, he would handle it. And sure enough, as soon as Betty sat in a wooden chair, she shouted in an awful voice, "Go away! Go away!" I don't know how to do a scary voice.
That was quite scary.
Go away.
Yeah, she shouted in an awful voice.
Did you like that, Tash?
I did. She shouted in an awful voice, "Go away!"
I'm enjoying that.
Yeah?
Is it a bit like book talk? And he growled.
Go away. And then began laughing hysterically in a cackle that seemed almost demonic. George spoke firmly, saying it was time to go. Betty spat in his face. George was
all right, Hector.
Spit out that thing.
George was unfazed and made Betty look in a small mirror he held in front of her face. She wailed, "Gozer, Gozer, help me!" Fun fact, this is where the name came from for the film Ghostbusters, as Dan Aykroyd is a huge fan of the paranormal, and he knew about this case, and that's where he got the name Gozer.
There you go.
My and Tasha's mouths fell open at the same time. We were both like, "Bah? A butt?"
Yeah.
Fun fact. Thank you for that.
Yeah, just slid that one in.
Yeah, nice.
Oh. After George had done telling the spirit to leave, Betty regained her senses. The couple said that both Janet and Peggy had leaky auras.
Oh,
Leaky auras.
Yeah, they've got leaky auras, and that they needed...
That makes me feel funny.
I think get some pads, maybe. I don't know.
And that they needed a cleansing. They said it was probably due to the divorce from Peggy's ex-husband, and all the hate she and Janet felt had made a tear in their auras, and that's what the spirits were feeding on.
Right.
According to them, there were multiple spirits, but the main one, the one in charge, was a nasty piece of work. After their visit, things did seem to calm down somewhat, and Guy and Morris decided that there's no way that could be a coincidence. Because of all the disturbance, Janet had been struggling at school. She was so exhausted from not getting enough sleep that she was constantly snoozing in her classes, so a meeting at school was called. Here, it was decided that the best thing for the family would be to send them away for a holiday, so they could get some well-earned rest. And so, the next half-term,
holiday.
The council paid for the Hodgsons to go away for a week at the seaside.
That's wild,
Cool.
but lovely.
Guy and Morris were also glad to be given a break, as the exhaustion was felt by all. When half-term arrived on the 29th of October 1977, the activity at the Hodgsons was back in full swing. Furniture was being thrown about, and the bangs and knocks were almost constant. The thing was even following Janet to school and making her chair shake while she was trying to write.
That's not ideal, is it?
No.
So embarrassing as well.
I don't know. Would you be embarrassed if you had a poltergeist?
I'd be so embarrassed.
Would you?
I'd be like, oh, it's just Frank, me ghost. Like, how embarrassing is that? You're a teenage girl. Everything's embarrassing.
Everything's embarrassing to a teenager.
She was actually most upset that she couldn't get her handwriting neat because she was being shook all the time on her chair. So she'd also begun seeing the apparition of an old man sat in her chair in her bedroom. She was actually scared of him, because she's quite tough as Janet by now, but this apparition scares her, because he puts his hand over her mouth and nose, trying to suffocate her.
Oh, like the dad that killed the kid?
I guess so. That was a pillow, but yeah. So a holiday was definitely welcome. And so the Hodgsons packed up and left for a week of peace. Morris and Guy were both glad of the time off as well. Although Guy did spend a night in the house alone just to see what would occur, but nothing did. The Hodgsons also had peace while away. Only one night did they hear barking coming from the kids' room. Janet blamed her brother, and he blamed Janet, and Peggy told them both to pack it in, and it stopped. Upon their return, however, things took off exactly where they had started. The kids were constantly getting hit with slippers, pillows, and toys. On one occasion, when the investigators had had enough, they removed everything out of the bedroom, where now the entire family was sleeping together, thinking it would give everyone some peace. But no, the poltergeist decided to rip out the gas fire that was cemented into the wall. Such a feat would have taken anyone incredible strength, but the Enfield Poltergeist did it in one single pull. It was also getting very good at making things fall through the floor, completely defying the laws of physics. Teddies, toys and shoes would often just fall from the ceiling as if the floor had momentarily opened up. And the knocks, of course, who could forget the knocks? They were pretty much constant, coming from all over the house. The weird thing was, it sounded as if they were coming from upstairs, but from beneath the carpet, because they were never muffled, whereas if somebody had been hitting the carpet, they would have been muffled. It was all very odd indeed, and the activity was too much to keep track of. 40 or 50 strange occurrences were happening every single day. Guy and Morris had long since given up keeping track of every single little thing. It occurred to Mr. Playfair that perhaps this thing was trying to communicate with them through the knocks, and so he tried to come up with a simple code of 2 knocks for yes and 1 for no. The first few questions it worked, but then the poltergeist just started randomly knocking as if to annoy him. Morris said he'd give it a go, as it had become evident that the thing, whatever it was, did not like Guy Playfair, but seemed quite comfortable around Morris Gross. And sure enough, using the same simple code, Morris began communicating with it. It revealed that it had died in the house, and that no, it wasn't planning on leaving anytime soon. It then started knocking randomly, and Morris asked if it was playing a game with him, and it threw a cardboard box full of soft toys right in his face.
Take that.
Ah, yes, he said, straightening out his glasses. Very good, I see that you are. After that, everyone thought it best to leave it alone for now, and the family went to bed. Gross and Playfair had a discussion about how they were going to get rid of this bloody thing. Neither of them knew. Neither of them had ever seen anything like this before. They thought it might be good to get some more investigators in from the SPR, but Morris insisted that they must be normal people, like no weirdos, because that would definitely give the skeptics more fuel. The family's well-being was his utmost priority now, and he didn't want them to be made a fool of. He'd grown quite attached to them, and the feeling was mutual. By now, the whole family had seen apparitions, faces peering in at them through windows, shadows floating down the stairs, footsteps coming from invisible feet, and the movement of someone walking past caught by the peripheral vision. More horrifyingly, though, was the noises. It wasn't just knocks now, it was moans, whistling and growling.
Ugh.
I honestly don't know how this family stayed in their house throughout all of this.
They are troopers, aren't they?
Yeah. Guy Playfair had invited a fellow member of the SPR to Enfield to get his thoughts on the case. But to his surprise, 6 members in total showed up. They were most disrespectful, and some didn't even say hello or introduce themselves to Peggy.
Oh no, that's not nice.
And she was all shy and didn't really know where to put herself, and really uncomfortable and embarrassed that they just kind of blanked her.
That's horrible.
Because I can just see Peggy getting the kettle on, getting a little plate of biscuits out, and they all just blew past her. They had all showed up with one thought in mind. This was a hoax. And sure enough, as the table flipped over in the kitchen, the heavy one that we talked about earlier that was impossible to move, they blamed the children straight away, without even checking it for themselves if they could flip an oak table. These investigators were very abruptly thrown out after the girls' bed had been shaking and one of the men had jumped into bed with them, as if it was a game.
No.
Yeah. And obviously Peggy was fuming at how inappropriately they were behaving. She said Morris and Guy were welcome any time, but that's it, no one else. They had upset the children with their accusations and behaved extremely rudely. Playfair and Gross suspected that sometimes the kids did indeed play tricks. After all, they were children. And it was to be expected that with everything going on that they were going to sometimes get carried away. But a few silly little tricks here and there did not explain disembodied voices, flying furniture, and objects falling through the ceiling. It seemed now that if the investigators wanted to help the Hodgsons, they were on their own. End of part 2.
Oh. Well, it's a very active polty.
It is a very, very active poltergeist. And I must admit that the reason I didn't want to do the Enfield Poltergeist is because I've always been massively sceptical about it. I've always just thought it was one of the kids. Because we all know that photo, right? We'll get to it at some point in the story, but we all know that photo of Janet being levitated off her bed. And
Yeah.
I've always
Yeah.
just thought, well, it just looks like she's jumping off the bed.
Yeah, that's what I thought as well.
But the more I've researched it and the more I've read, obviously reading the book and stuff, yeah, you can't. Sure, there's stuff that maybe Janet did, she wanted the attention, she wanted to prove things were going on. But you can't, there are things you just can't fake.
Yeah.
So either all these witnesses are lying that they didn't see what they saw, or something is actually going on. So there we go. Anyway.
Thank you for that, Emma. I look forward to the next part.
Yeah, me too. I'm really excited for it.
So I reckon there's at least another part, possibly 2. We will see.
Great.
Yummy.
This story is called La Maison des Plumes.
Oh, the House of Feathers.
I thought you said La Maison des Putes.
No,
It's not the
I
same
didn't say
thing.
that.
That's not the same thing at all.
It's not the same thing at all.
What Becky just said means whorehouse.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not the house of, the House of Whores, whereas the House of Feathers is much prettier.
Yeah.
Much nicer.
Both fun places, I'm sure.
When Claire inherited that old house in Montreal-sur-Mer, she expected dust, creaking floors, perhaps a ghost story whispered by villagers. What she did not expect was feathers. They were everywhere. White feathers, soft and downy, drifting from the ceilings like snow with no source above. She swept them up, burnt them, sealed them in the attic.
Oh, I bet that
They
smelled.
always returned.
Burnt feather.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll be burning feathers. Smelly.
Yeah, speller. Each night, tapping echoed through the halls, like a quill scratching old parchment. Claire traced the sound to the locked study, its key missing for decades. On the door, scratched in flaking paint, the words, "Ne l'ouvre pas," don't open.
Oh, I think someone's going to open it.
She slept poorly, drowning in the feeling that something watched her from behind the study door, waiting. One stormy night, lightning struck so close the glass shattered. The blast shook loose a board above the fireplace, and behind it, a rusty iron key clattered to the floor.
Don't do it, Claire. Ne l'ouvre pas. Ne l'ouvre pas.
Claire knew exactly where it belonged.
She's going to ouvre it, isn't she?
She is.
She is.
Her hand trembled as she turned the key, the door creaking. Stale air rushed out like a gasp from a long buried throat. Ugh, that sounds horrible, doesn't it?
A long buried throat.
So awful. Inside lay a small desk, an inkwell filled with blackened sludge, and a single quill, a massive feather darker than night. Papers covered the floor, frantic scribbles. One document, fresh as if it was written minutes ago, read in perfect script, "La plume de ma tante," my aunt's pen. But the word plume was crossed out and rewritten over and over, replaced finally with a wing. A chill crawled up Claire's spine. The quill twitched. She stumbled back as the feather lifted on its own, stretching, unfolding into the grotesque twisted wing. And from the shadows behind the desk came a shape, hunched and rustling. Feathers multiplied, merging into something once human, but no longer tethered to the ground or sanity. It leaned forward, a skeletal face framed by molten plumage, and whispered with a ragged voice that sounded like 1,000 wings beating at once. "You've opened the door. I can write again."
Don't like that voice.
Sorry. The last thing Claire saw was a monstrous quill diving towards her, ink dripping like fresh blood,
Yeah.
ready to inscribe her into its story. and the feathers kept falling. The end.
Oh.
R.I.P. Claire.
Don't know.
Claire.
What happened to Claire?
Well, I think she died.
Was it Claire with or without an E at the end?
With an E.
Best Claire's.
Yeah.
Well,
There you go.
feathers, eh?
Ne l'ouvre pas.
Ne l'ouvre pas.
I never thought the feathers could be scary, but they kind of freak me out now.
Well, they can. Did you have any little words to drip in?
Yes, I put 2 in.
Oh. I didn't notice.
You didn't?
No. Did you, Becky?
No.
Did you have
Do you
any
wanna tell
words?
us? Yeah, I did, yeah.
How many?
Well, I had a phrase.
I had a phrase as well. Becky, did you have
Ooh.
any?
I forgot to do that part. It'll be next time. I'll put them in, I promise.
I had nugget.
And when you said nugget, I was like, I like the word nugget.
When did you say nugget?
When you were talking about history, I said, oh, that's a nice little history nugget.
You did.
And flop them out with a spatula.
Yeah, that was interesting, wasn't it?
I did think it was slightly out. I was like, who wrote that in? Who knew that I was going to be lying seductively on my bed tonight?
How else were you going to get that in?
I don't know. But hey, it worked out for me, so there.
Yeah.
What did you have?
What about you, Tash?
Interestingly, I actually put my word into chat, my phrase into ChatGPT.
That's
and
cheating.
No, it's not.
It is.
Well,
It is.
That's what I did.
Okay, cheater.
And it was La Plume de ma tante.
Oh, okay.
Because apparently this is something like the most grammatically correct sentence in French or something.
You had a massive orb just fly behind you, Tash.
It's probably some dust.
C'est la plume de ta tante.
It's something to do the most grammatically correct.
That doesn't make any sense. What does that mean?
Why? Look. Let me Google it right now.
Well, isn't everything correct if you say it correct?
Yeah, like
It's like a thing. Hold on.
le chat dort sur le
La
canapé.
plume.
That's grammatically
Oh,
correct.
so correct.
I mean, I nailed everything in that
No,
sentence.
but hold on. It's like a thing.
Okay, you tell us. I thought it was a song, La Plume de ma tante. No? It definitely rang a bell when you said La Plume de ma tante.
La plume de ma tante is a phrase attributed to elementary French language instruction and used as an example of grammatically correct phrase with limited practical application that are sometimes taught in introductory foreign language. I don't really know what that means, but there you go.
I think it probably just means it's a simple sentence that is showing people how French grammar works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I imagine. I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah.
let's wrap it up because Becky is going to fall asleep.
Yeah.
Becky
It's not a
shouldn't-
good idea to record this lying down.
No, it is not. Right.
Interestingly, La plume de ma tante is also a phrase used in The Exorcist.
Oh, is it?
Oh, does she say that at one point?
Yeah, so
Was it before or after she
when
says,
Regan's
fuck me,
possessed,
Jesus?
she says La plume de ma tante.
Yeah, that rings a bell. Maybe that's
There you
why
go.
it did ring a bell. Oh, The Exorcist. I hate that little girl's
So actually,
face.
it's all coming together full circle.
Yes, good. Well done.
It's all coming
Perfect.
together.
Was there another
Right.
one? Or did you just have...
No, I only had that.
Okay.
I've got another one, but I'll save it for next week.
Yeah, and I'll put mine
Okey-dokey.
in next week, I promise.
All right. Let's go. Please, if you can, we haven't asked for ages, but if you can comment on our episode on Spotify, that would be amazing. If you could give us some ratings, either on Apple Podcast or on Spotify, that would be absolutely fantastic. We would love that. If you could follow our YouTube channel, please, that would be amazing. It's just Spine-Killers and Serial Killers. And if you want to interact with us a little bit more, you can join our Facebook page, Spine-Killers and Serial Killers. And if you've got any stories you want to send in, any true crime, suggestions or ghost story suggestions or personal ghost stories, you can send them into chillers.killers.pod@gmail.com.
That's
Thank
the
you.
one. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Come on, let's try and get 10 ratings. That would be ace
If
for
you've
next
rated
week.
us on one platform, go across and do it on another one.
Please.
Yeah, please, that'd be nice. Let's try and go up 10 ratings. That would be amazing.
Yeah. Come on, let's do it together, guys.
Let's work together. Yeah.
All in this together. Is that what you just sang as well?
Yeah, just a different part of the song.
Right, let's go.
Wow, cats. Stay safe, guys.
Don't kill people.
And keep it weird.
Bye.
And have great sex. Have great sex. I love you all. I wish I could say that to my customers at work, but it just doesn't feel appropriate.
It's probably
Love you, bye.
not appropriate. Please don't.
Bye, everybody.
Spine chillers and serial killers, where the chills meet the laughter spillers. Spooky, funny, strange, but true. They'll be back in 2 weeks for you.
Here it was decided that the best thing for the family would be to be. Here it was decided that the best thing from. Oh, for fuck's sake. Here.
That was not...